So, you have more from the second book of Kings for me today? Yes, sir, I do. And we're starting off with King Joram, who has succeeded his brother Ahaziah as king of Israel now that Ahaziah has died. Joram is Ahaziah's brother. Got it. Now, the Moabites are kicking up a fuss because they don't want to pay tribute to Israel anymore now that King Ahab is gone. I see. They had some deal with Ahab and they want out of it now that it's Ahab's son in power. Precisely, sir. So Joram enlists the help of the kingdoms of Judah and Edom to help him bring Moab back into line. Moab is going to have a tough time going up against 3 allied kingdoms, isn't it? Actually, it seems like it might be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Oh, really? Yes, it turns out these kings leave a lot to be desired as military leaders. How so? Well, after a roundabout march of 7 days, their army had no more water for themselves or for the animals with them. These kings had their armies wander around long enough to actually exhaust their water supply. Yeah, it's a hoot. There's this hilarious scene where they're at such a loss they feel like God has given them up to Moab. Damn, it's like something out of the Three Stooges. The Three who? So what do these geniuses do? They ask Elisha for advice. Oh, is he traveling with them? Nope, they just find him immediately somehow. Wow, that's so convenient that he's that easy to reach. It really is. So, what's Elisha's solution to the conundrum these knuckleheads have gotten themselves into? He tells them that it'll be fine and that God will give the Moabites over to them. Well, great, so how does that play out? God magically fills the valley they're in with pools of water so that there's plenty to drink for everyone. God was willing to bail these idiots out and save them from dying of thirst despite the fact that they got themselves into this predicament in the first place. Oh yes, Elisha even makes a point about how easy it is for God to do this. Good to know that if I ever get myself into a life or death situation due to a lack of water, that God can easily alleviate my plight. Oh yeah, you can always count on God. Wow. Now, the next morning, the Moabites wake up to see the sun rising over all this water, right? Okay. And the water reflects the red morning light? All right. And seeing this red color, the Moabites think the water is blood. Wait, really? Yes, they assume the 3 armies must have turned on one another and that the supposed blood is from the resulting slaughter. They can't tell the difference between huge swaths of reflected sunlight and bloodstains. That's what we're going with. Oh, wow. Wow. So, assuming their adversaries have killed one another, they shout, "Now to the plunder, Moab!" and out they charge from their city. They're not sending out a scouting party first? That sounds like a plan to me. No, I mean, shouldn't they send out? But before they know it, and much to their surprise, the 3 armies are still, in fact, completely intact. Whoopsie. You realize, had they deployed scouts, they would have known that. Hey, shut up! And the combined forces of Israel, Judah, and Edom annihilate the Moabites. Okay, so what do you think? Basically what you've written here is a story about a bunch of idiots being wiped out by another bunch of idiots. Well, the reflected sunlight being mistaken for blood was a cool plot device, right? That was stupid. The kings running themselves out of water was stupid, and Moab not sending scouts was stupid. What was the point of the story? You can make up whatever reasons you like. We really don't care. Oh, whatever. I think the reflected sunlight being mistaken for blood was a nifty touch. So incredibly dumb. And not to mention, Moab's soldiers would have certainly noticed that the enemy was very much alive once they got to within, a quarter mile of them? Look, sir, I'm going to need you to get all the way off my back about my awesome and totally believable story. Sure, let me get off that ridiculous thing. Great. So, next up, Elisha is going to perform a few miracles. All right, let's see it. So there's this widow, and she's facing the prospect of having her 2 sons taken away into slavery to pay off a debt her late husband incurred. Uh-oh. Does God abolish slavery right then and there? Why would he do that? You're right. What on earth came over me? God, you're weird. Go on. Now, Elisha asks what she has in her house, but all she has is a small jar of olive oil. Aww. So Elisha has her borrow a lot of empty jars from her neighbors. Okay. And then she is to go into a room alone and start pouring the olive oil from her small jar into the empty ones. But how can she fill all those empty jars from just her one small jar? Her little jar doesn't run out until all the other jars are filled. What? It's an amazing miracle. You just did this one. What? You had Elijah do the same thing back in 1 Kings. I did? Yes, remember the widow in Zarephath? Who? The widow in Zarephath. She was down to the last of her oil and flour, yet they didn't run out for a long time. Oh, right. This whole abundant food when there appears to be very little trope is getting a little tired, don't you think? No, I don't think it's possible for it to ever be overdone. Oh, for Pete. In fact, I'm going to make a note to myself to add another one about bread at the end of this chapter. Knock yourself out. Is there anything else to this story? Oh, right. The widow uses the surplus oil to pay off the debt and save her sons. I guess that's something. Yes, it is something. So is olive oil worth a lot of money? Not really. It's a ubiquitous kitchen commodity. And yet the modest profit she could have sold it for is enough to buy back 2 human lives. Oh, please don't think about this too hard. Oh, okay, I won't. Next, Elisha leaves for Joram, where he prophesies that a childless woman there will have a son in about a year. Wow, really going out on a limb with some of these prophecies, aren't you? Oh, be quiet. Let me guess. She has a son within the year. Yes, she does. Wow, what an amazing prophecy. But wouldn't you know it, a few years later, her son drops dead. Oh no, what happened? My guess is that it was a subdural hematoma. Interesting. So this Shunammite woman's first order of business is to go looking for Elisha. Really? What for? She wants to chew him out for putting her in the position to lose a son. Oh, right. That's important. So she saddles up and finds him on Mount Carmel. How'd she know he'd be there? Continue. So after a journey of 20 miles, she chews him out. Oh gosh. And how does Elisha respond? He gives his staff to his servant and tells him to run as fast as he can back to the Shunammite's dead son so he can lay the staff on the boy's face. What's that supposed to accomplish? I don't know. But he does it and nothing happens. Well, okay then. So when Elisha finally gets to the dead boy himself, the first thing he does is lie down flat on top of him. I'm sorry, he what? He climbs on top of him, mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. Mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. Yes. Ooh, that is super gross on several levels. Yeah, I'm not sure who contributed that. Why the hell would Elisha crawl onto a small child's dead body? Somehow it brings this kid back to life. Wait a minute. You're doing a second resurrection? A second? Are you kidding me? You had Elijah do the same thing back in 1 Kings. Oh yeah! So you're telling me that a human being is being brought back from the dead? Yes. Again. Yes. All right. This is huge, and you botched it the first time. I wouldn't say we botched it. No, that's the word. Botch. You botched it. This has earth-shattering consequences for all mankind, so we need to get it right. Okay. He's been raised from death. What does this kid do? Oh, God. What? A dead person has been brought back to life. Don't you get it? This kid needs to be special. Yes. Okay, what does he do? He sneezes 7 times. You cannot be serious. That is what we wrote. How the f*** did you come up with that? Larry had just snorted a line of coke and gone into a sneezing jag. And the guys were dying laughing, and we decided to incorporate it into the narrative. You thought this was the appropriate time to inject some humor. Hey, John suggested we have him just let off a big old fart, so... Jesus Christ. Do you at least have this kid going on to save mankind or bring a new covenant or anything like that? No, there's just the sneezing. Holy shit, you have got to change that. Oh man, that'd be so much work. Do it. Okay, I will. Sneezing. Jesus Christ. Fix it. I will. Seriously. I will.